All right, guys, sorry for getting this one up a bit late. I am running on 0 hours of sleep at this point, but it's not about what I am doing. It's about what you guys need to hear. And that is the news of the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders. We've got a release date for when pre-orders begin. I'm going to break down all of the information and the dates and the prices, in addition to some other Nintendo Switch 2 news. So Nintendo has officially announced on their website, it's not just a rumor or something else, that Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders will begin on April 24th in the US and Canada. And pricing, more importantly, has been unchanged. There are no changes to the pricing at all, although there are some Switch 2 accessory pricing adjustments. So it's good that we got it to the point where the Nintendo Switch 2 will remain at the $450 price for the standard Nintendo Switch 2 system. But if you want the bundle with Mario Kart World, that will be $500 for that. Now, both physical and digital versions of the big titles like Mario Kart World, it is going to remain $80 or $79.99. Donkey Kong Bonanza will remain $70 or $69.99 at launch. Well, Donkey Kong Bonanza, that's not a launch title, but they felt the need to say, hey, look, the price is this for that. So that's going to be July. So Donkey Kong Bonanza is not a launch title, but Mario Kart World is launching with it. So you got to make your plans if you're planning on getting it. Make your plans on what you want. If you want to get a physical copy and get the regular version, or get the bundle with Mario Kart World, and you save about $30 on that copy of the Mario Kart, but it's not physical. Now, in Switch 2 accessories, they will experience a price adjustment for those announced on April 2nd in the United States due to changes in market conditions, according to Nintendo. Now, we do have some other adjustments as well, so I'm going to put up a snapshot here of everything because it goes over Nintendo Switch 2, the Mario Kart bundle, Mario Kart World. You can see it all here. Donkey Kong Bonanza. The Canadian prices are here too as well. Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller, Joy-Con 2 pair, charging grip. Everything's all right here, set out overall. But yeah, looks like everything is going to be going down then. You know, Nintendo did apologize for the situation with the Nintendo Switch 2 when it comes to the pre-order. I do think that they were looking to see when it comes to those tariffs. That was the initial concern and everything, and it looks like at this point that concern is, I would say, squashed for right now. But remember, when it comes to what Nintendo's going to do with pricing, guys, it's all going to be based off of what happens with the Vietnam. Like what happens with Vietnam and the tariff situation with our government here in the US at least. If everything continues to stay the way that it is, where it's just a 10% tariff, then I think that they will eat that cost. So I don't think that there's any concern. There was an article the other day that I saw that Nintendo's in line for 145% tariffs from China. And I'm going to tell you right now, if that was the case to where the Switch 2 would have that, then the Switch 2 price would not stay the same with the 145% tariff. So the sites that were reporting that, there was a little bit of misinformation from where the actual units of the Nintendo Switch 2, where most of them are coming from, and they're from Vietnam. It's not from China, it's from Vietnam, which is why we have the price staying the same. But once again, that could change in the future. If there are future tariffs that hit Vietnam and we don't get an exempt list, because there are exempt lists for China for, like, I think computers and certain like iPhones or certain things like that, then if we don't get that, then the price could go up. Things are getting far more expensive in terms of how things are going at this point. So, you know what? I'll say that crisis averted for right now, but it's not completely done at this point. Now, Nintendo did state this, quote, "We apologize for the retail pre-order delay and hope this reduces some of the uncertainty our customers may be experiencing. We thank our customers for their patience, and we share their excitement to experience Nintendo Switch 2 starting on June 5th, 2025. So nothing is changed from there overall. Everything is all set when it comes down to it. Yes, the pricing, some people felt that maybe they changed Mario Kart World because of all the backlash and drop the price. And I knew that they weren't going to do that at all, because the drop the price is already built into the bundle. At least I think that's what Nintendo's thinking, that it's already built in. So if you want the cheaper price for Mario Kart, you got to go ahead and get that bundle. Now we'll see what happens towards the end of the year, because that is a limited time. By the end of the year, they're going to remove that, and they're just going to have the Nintendo Switch 2 for the $450. But I'm guessing that they might bundle in a different game or have some other different type of package to get $500 out of people. So maybe they bundle in something else, or maybe they have an accessory, or maybe there's something like that, like a digital game voucher. There might be something that they're going to do. So there are a number of things Nintendo can do to kind of change the narrative a little bit leading up into the launch, and we're going to talk about that in just a bit. But we also need to talk about you guys that are not subscribed, making sure that you hit that subscribe button. So hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed for the latest Nintendo Switch 2 information. Hit that like button and click that notification bell to get my vids as soon as they drop, even if I'm running on an hour and a half of sleep. Now let's go ahead and get into this next topic here. I want to discuss what Nintendo can kind of do with this whole situation and the controversy that's going on. I think that there is a two-part fold thing here, right? You have people that, of course, are very angry and upset, and we've talked about that. I'm not going to dwell on that when it comes down to it, but I think that the games and what they do and how they release the games and how good those games are, that can usually be a fix for so many different things. So I'd expect Nintendo to come out guns blazing when it comes to their games. We already know about a number of titles for this year. We've got a number of big games coming out. Of course, Mario Kart World, that's going to be awesome. Donkey Kong Bonanza, that's going to be really good. Metroid Prime 4, that's going to be incredible. We'll see how the Welcome Tour and Drag Cross Drive is, but you know, those games are the smaller titles. We still got the Kirby Air Riders game that's coming out. We got the Hyrule Warriors game that's coming out, Age of Imprisonment. Plus, we got all the Nintendo Switch 2 editions of games that are going to add value to people that already have the Switch 1 versions. Or if you want the Switch 2 version, of course, you can just get it, or you can buy the physical copy, then upgrade it. You can do whatever you want when it comes to those. So I do think that with all of those games coming, and of course with a big Nintendo Direct that I would guess would probably be sometime in June or July, I think that Nintendo can kind of say, okay, listen, we hear you with some of this stuff, but what about this? Look at this, because man, the games at that Nintendo Switch 2 Direct were lit, but I understand the controversy and I understand some of the disappointment from some people when it comes to the pricing and things like that, especially these Canadian prices. Man, they are high overall when it comes down to it, and they're high in a lot of places, man. Like, stuff is going up everywhere. So I feel you guys on that one, and those people that are upset when it comes down to it, you're probably going to have to really pay attention to what you want to get. You know, if it's going to be a problem, you got to pay attention to what you really want to get. But for me, I'm just looking forward to playing Mario Kart World. I think the game looks awesome, but once again, I understand people that are upset about this or about that with the Nintendo Switch 2. But those are the pre-orders. That's what's going down. I expect the pre-orders to sell out or to hit maximum capacity very quickly. Also, another note here too, guys, is that this is going to be pre-orders at all places, not just on the Nintendo Store. Pre-orders everywhere. So Best Buy, Walmart, Target, everywhere. So we are going to be running an all hands on deck show on April 23rd / April 24th to make sure that you guys are set, ready to go to get this pre-order if you want it, of course. So April 24th, that is Thursday next week as of the time that I'm recording this video, the 24th. So yeah, look out for that, guys. It's going to be very interesting and fun. Let's get into some Nintendo Switch 2 actual news when it comes to games coming. Have you guys heard of a game called Spine? Free flow gun fu combat design game. It's kind of like John Wick, and it's kind of like Sifu, kind of all mixed together, and it looks pretty cool. And one of the coolest things about the Nintendo Switch 2 is that we're going to get games like this, these random AA type of games, these independent developers that try out something new and kind of use a little bit of the tech. You can see that it's a little bit more, they have some experience, but it's not quite obviously like the AAA type of stuff. These are the type of things that completely skip the Nintendo Switch 1 at launch, or we had to wait for a crustier version down the line like Sifu. Got a crusty version of that game. I mean, it's okay now at this point, but yeah. Like, this is the type of stuff with the Nintendo Switch 2 where that's not going to happen. Developers will be able to add their Switch 2 versions in as they get their dev kits, and hopefully things just progress even faster and faster from here. But yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far here. If you like games like Sifu, or if you like stuff like Enter the Matrix back in the day or something like that, I think that this game Spine looks pretty cool. What they've done with some of the combat, looks like you're going to be able to chain attacks very quickly and easily from one enemy to another with different guns and different weapons and even spray paint and stuff. So yeah, I really like what they're showing off here, and yeah, Spine is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. They don't have a release date, but I do think that it's probably going to be next year. If they don't have a release date set for this year, then I'm guessing that it's probably going to be a game next year, because they've been taking some time with this game. This game used to be a multiplayer game, and they turned it into a single player game now at this point. But yeah, it's launching on PS5, Xbox Series, PC, and Nintendo Switch 2 now at this point. The developer on this one is Neki, so we'll see how this one turns out, but so far, so good for Spine. We also have an update on Star Wars Outlaws for the Nintendo Switch. We've got a full release date on September 4th, and we've got DLC that's been announced for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series plus PC versions. That's due out on May 15th. So here's what this DLC is about. It says embark on a mysterious adventure with Kay and Nix to explore the Kepi system and learn what it takes to be a true leader. Team up with legendary pirate Hondo Onaka and face off against Stinger Tash and her Rokana raiders as you infiltrate the Kepi tomb to uncover the secrets and hidden treasures it holds. Along the way, you'll discover the Miyuki Trade League, who offer new rewards for the Trailblazer in exchange for smuggling dangerous goods across the galaxy. As part of the update, alongside a pirate's fortune, all players will be gifted cosmetic items inspired by Star Wars Skeleton Crew, which will include an outfit for Nix, a trophy for Speeder, and a trinket for both the Speeder and the Trailblazer. The gift will appear in your delivery crate on the Trailblazer after downloading and installing the update. So yeah, pretty interesting here down at this point, guys. This game was described by Digital Foundry as already an impossible port before the system is even launched, and we've seen everything about it. So it's going to be very interesting to see exactly how it runs and looks. Now, they did have a trailer for the Switch 2 version of the game. Not much footage, and it was all in handheld mode, and maybe it looked a little spooky. I'm not really sure. I'm not a pixel counter or frame counter when it comes to some of these things, because it is still early footage. The game doesn't come out till September, so they have far more time, but it seems like it might be okay. But once again, we have to wait and see. Overall, right? Impossible port already, according to Digital Foundry. So we'll see if that holds up. We'll see the tech behind it, because this game is one of the better looking games on Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 and PC and stuff. So we'll see how it holds up on the Nintendo Switch 2. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting more graphically intense games that are impossible ports this early. It's great to see that. The first impossible port for the Nintendo Switch 1 was Doom 2016, and that didn't come out to the end of the year. So we have beat out the impossible port allegations by a number of months with the Switch 2. So that's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing at this point. So what do you guys think overall about the different announcements here from Spine and Star Wars Outlaws? You can let me know in the comment section. We also have one more topic that I want to go into, and that's Split Fiction. This game might actually be a good game to pick up at launch if you're not getting Mario Kart World, or if you just want another multiplayer game to play with someone else, because the Nintendo Switch 2 version does feature game share for Switch 2, and it even works with the Nintendo Switch 1, which is just wild to me that you can do this. And I think one of the cool features of the Nintendo Switch 2 is that you can even beam games to Switch 1. So let's talk about the game share. So with this game share with the Nintendo Switch 2, you can even use the original Nintendo Switch to play the game's full co-op mode with just one copy of the game. So let's talk about game share and game chat. So as mentioned in the last blog, Split Fiction will take advantage of the new Nintendo Switch 2 system features, game share and game chat. Game share will enable Nintendo Switch 2 owners to invite another player to play together over a local wireless connection using just one copy of the game. This other player can not only be a Nintendo Switch 2 owner, but a Nintendo Switch owner as well. Game chat will allow players to easily communicate and collaborate with one another while playing online using the system's built-in microphone. Nintendo Switch 2 owners who connect the Nintendo Switch 2 camera or USB camera to their system will be able to also share their live video as part of the game chat feature. The camera image will appear on the player indicator UI within the game. You also have Friend Pass and crossplay on the Nintendo Switch 2. In case you missed it, Split Fiction on the Nintendo Switch 2 will also support Hazelight Friend Pass features. Thanks to Friend Pass, two players can enjoy Split Fiction together online, but only one of those players needs to own a copy of the game. Split Fiction also supports crossplay, meaning any two players can connect online regardless of which platforms they're playing on. This is incredible. I can just say this right now. This is incredible what Hazelight has done in terms of features and accessibility for people to be able to play this game. Beaming to a Nintendo Switch 1, playing crossplay with other systems, having one copy and being able to play with somebody else as well that doesn't have a copy. this is definitely a good thing. And one of the features of the Nintendo Switch 2 that I absolutely want to see more developers take advantage of, it almost feels like Split Fiction was like built for the Nintendo Switch 2, with the stuff to where you can beam it to Switch 1 or have the local wireless or have two people playing. Even if someone else doesn't have the game, you can easily get someone into play at that point. It completely removes the barriers. So this is awesome. I love the feature. This is some good stuff. And Nintendo Switch 2, man, these type of features with what it can do is going to be a lot of fun overall with other developers. I can't wait to see what else we have, because this is a launch title when it comes to Split Fiction. So what do you guys think overall about the pre-orders, about all the different games that we talked about? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch RPG videos and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.